Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. This time, we're tackling consumer behavior, but not through the usual surveys or focus groups. We've got something way more, well, interesting.
Name.
Yeah, it's a simple walking tour video of the Irvine Spectrum Center,
Okay.
shot in the evening,
Yeah.
no narration, just raw footage of the atmosphere, the businesses, and, well, most importantly,
The people.
you guessed it, the people.
It is fascinating what we can glean from something so, mundane.
Right.
You're right. This isn't some like fancy data set or anything.
No.
This is about observing those unfiltered moments of how people choose to spend their time and their money.
Exactly. So let's set the scenery. The video's got that golden hour lighting, crowds bustling, and there is a mix of families, groups of friends, couples, all kind of strolling through the center. But it's not just a visual spectacle, right? There's a deeper story here about consumer behavior.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For instance, you can't ignore the sheer number of restaurants and cafes that are just packed with people. It tells us right away that the Irvine Spectrum Center is more than just a place to shop. It's a dining and entertainment hub.
Okay, but every mall has restaurants, right? I mean, what makes this different?
Well, it's the sheer density and diversity. We see everything from fast casual to upscale dining,
Oh, okay.
indicating they are catering to a wide range of tastes and budgets. And remember those hot zones we were talking about?
Oh, yeah. The area is just teeming with people. What was it about those spots that drew the crowds?
Well, some of it is strategic placement. Take the Apple Store, for example. It's a classic anchor store, a big-name brand designed to draw people in.
Because everyone needs the latest iPhone.
Well, not necessarily. It's more about the halo effect.
Okay.
The presence of a premium brand, like Apple, elevates the perceived value of the entire area. People think, well, if Apple chose this location, it must be something special.
Yeah.
And that draws in crowds, which then benefit the surrounding businesses too.
So it's not just about selling Apple products, it's about attracting foot traffic and creating a buzz.
Precisely. And then those crowds spill over into those nearby restaurants and
Yeah.
cafes, creating those hot zones that the video highlights.
Clever. So location plays a key role, but is it all about big brands? I mean, the video shows tons of smaller businesses thriving too. What are they doing right?
They've tapped into a specific market segment,
Okay.
families with children.
Makes sense.
We see play areas, koi stores, kid-friendly restaurants,
Yeah.
all strategically placed to capture that, that family dollar.
That makes sense. It seems like a win-win, right? Parents get to kind of relax and enjoy the atmosphere while the kids are entertained.
Exactly. They're creating an experience, not just a transaction. And that's a crucial lesson for any business in today's market.
Speaking of experiences, those illuminated fountains and the lights, they seem to be major draws. You see people gathering around, taking pictures. I mean, is that just aesthetics or is there more to it?
It's all about placemaking.
Yeah.
They're not just decorative. They act as these gathering points.
Yeah?
They subtly guide visitor flow, and they encourage people to kind of linger and interact with the space.
So it's like a strategic form of crowd control.
You could say that,
Yeah.
but it's more about creating a sense of community
Yeah.
and fostering those positive associations with the center.
Okay. So we've got big brands, family-friendly businesses, strategic design. I mean, it's starting to feel like they've thought of everything, but I'm curious, are there any missed opportunities? Is there anything the Irvine Spectrum Center could be doing even better?
That's a great question, and it leads us to an interesting observation. While the video showcases a, vibrant and diverse mix of offerings, there's one potential gap:
Okay.
health and wellness.
Interesting. You mean like fitness studios, healthy food options, that kind of thing?
Exactly. While we do see some casual dining, a dedicated focus on, healthy and sustainable options could attract a whole new segment of consumers.
Oh, okay.
Think like organic cafes, juice bars, maybe even a small farmer's market.
So even in a seemingly perfect setup like the Irvine Spectrum Center, there's always room for growth and innovation.
Absolutely. And that's what makes analyzing these spaces so fascinating. They're constantly evolving, reflecting shifts in consumer preferences and broader societal trends. This video is just a snapshot in time, a glimpse into a dynamic ecosystem.
And it's amazing how much insight we've already gained from just a few minutes of footage. This deep dive is really living up to its name. But before we get too ahead of ourselves, there's one more thing I'm curious about.
What's that?
The video was filmed in the evening. Do you think our analysis would change if we saw footage from different times of day? would we observe different patterns of consumer behavior?
That's a brilliant observation.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. The time of day can significantly impact how people interact with a space like the Irvine Spectrum Center.
Okay.
We might see a different mix of consumers,
Hmm.
different peak hours for certain businesses, and even different uses of the space.
Okay. So we've got strategic location, big brands, a focus on families, and even the time of day influencing consumer behavior. It's like a giant puzzle with all these interconnected pieces. But before we get lost in the details.
We need to zoom out and connect it to the bigger picture.
Okay.
Remember, this isn't just about the Irvine Spectrum Center, right?
Right.
It's about understanding broader trends in retail and consumer behavior.
You're right. So let's shift gears and explore what this all means for the future of these spaces. What can we learn from the Irvine Spectrum Center's success? And how can other businesses adapt to these evolving consumer demands?
What's fascinating here is that the Irvine Spectrum Center, it's almost like a microcosm of what consumers are looking for today.
Yeah.
It's not just about buying things anymore.
Yeah.
It's about experiences,
Yeah.
community, a sense of place.
So it's like they've cracked the code on creating a destination, not just a shopping center.
Exactly. They've recognized that in the age of, online shopping, brick and mortar businesses need to offer something unique, something you just can't get from clicking a button.
And it's not just about slapping on some fancy decorations and calling it a day, right? There's a real strategy behind it.
That's what makes this so insightful. They're leveraging those principles of consumer psychology and retail design to create an environment that encourages people to spend and fosters loyalty.
Okay, I'm all ears. Break it down for me. What are some of those key takeaways that other businesses can learn from this?
Well, first, you got to create a sense of place.
Okay.
Think about the atmosphere, the design, the layout. The Irvine Spectrum Center uses those focal points, the fountains and the lights, to draw people in, create a sense of energy. Other businesses can adapt this. They can think about how their physical space can tell a story and evoke certain emotions.
So it's like setting the stage for an experience.
Precisely. Then, curate a diverse mix of offerings. Think about your target audience and what they value. The Irvine Spectrum Center does a great job of catering to families. But, they also have options for different demographics and budgets.
And don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly. And then remember the importance of experience. Think beyond just selling products or services, right? How can you create memorable moments for your customers? How can you make them feel like they're a part of something bigger?
I'm starting to see a pattern here. It's all about creating that emotional connection, not just a transactional one.
You got it. And that brings us to another crucial element, community building.
Okay.
The Irvine Spectrum Center fosters this sense of belonging through its design, the events they hold, and even their social media engagement.
So it's not just a physical space, it's a community hub.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And that is a powerful differentiator in today's market. People are craving connection.
Yeah.
And businesses that can provide that have a distinct advantage.
Yeah. Okay, I'm taking notes here. Create a sense of place, curate diverse offerings, emphasize experience, and foster community. It's like a recipe for success in the modern retail landscape.
You could say that. But remember, it's not a, one-size-fits-all solution.
Right.
Every business is unique. And the key is to adapt these principles to your specific context.
That makes sense. But it's still incredibly valuable to see how these principles play out in a, real-world setting like the Irvine Spectrum Center.
Absolutely. It gives us a concrete example to learn from, and it sparks ideas for, how we can apply these concepts to our own businesses, or even just our understanding of consumer behavior in general.
So even though this deep dive started with, just a simple walking tour video, it's really opened up a whole new world of insights. We've gone from observing crowds to understanding the psychology behind their behavior, and we even kind of extrapolated that to the future of retail.
And that's the beauty of a deep dive.
Yeah.
It's about going beyond the surface level and uncovering those hidden connections, those aha moments, those that change the way we see the world.
I completely agree. But before we wrap up, I want to circle back to something you mentioned earlier.
All right.
You said that the Irvine Spectrum Center is a microcosm of what consumers are looking for today. What exactly did you mean by that?
I'm glad you brought that up. It's all about the convergence of these trends, that we're seeing in society.
Okay.
People are increasingly valuing experiences over material possessions.
Right.
They want to feel connected to their community. And they are looking for brands and businesses that align with their values.
So it's not just about shopping, it's about a lifestyle.
Exactly.
Right.
And the Irvine Spectrum Center has tapped into that.
Yeah.
That zeitgeist. They've created a space that reflects those evolving values and provides a platform for people to express themselves and connect with others.
Which makes me wonder, what does this mean for the future of retail? Is this the new normal? I mean, are we seeing the death of the traditional shopping mall as we know it?
Well, that's a big question, and there's no easy answer. But what we can say is that businesses that fail to adapt to these changing consumer demands will struggle to survive.
So it's evolve or die, basically.
Yeah, it sounds dramatic, but it's the reality. We're seeing it play out all around us.
Yeah.
The businesses that are thriving are the ones that are creating those immersive experiences, building community, and offering something truly unique.
So what can other businesses learn from this? What are those key takeaways they can apply to their own strategies?
Well, first and foremost, they need to understand their target audience.
Okay.
What are their needs?
Yeah.
Their desires? Their values?
Right.
What are they looking for in an experience?
So it all starts with knowing your customer.
Exactly. And then it's about aligning your brand and your offerings with those needs and values.
Yeah.
It's about creating a cohesive experience that resonates with your target audience on an emotional level.
So it's not just about having the right products or services, it's about telling the right story.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
It's about creating a narrative that connects with your audience and makes them feel like they're a part of something bigger.
Okay, so we've got understand your customer, align your brand, and create a compelling narrative. Sounds like a lot to juggle.
It is, but it's also incredibly rewarding. When you get it right, you create something, truly special.
Right.
Something that resonates with people on a deep level.
And that's what we're seeing with the Irvine Spectrum Center. They've created a space that's more than just a shopping mall.
Right.
It's a reflection of our evolving culture and a kind of glimpse into the future of retail.
And that's what makes this deep dive so fascinating. It's not just about analyzing a specific location. It's about understanding the forces that are shaping our world and how businesses can adapt and thrive in this ever-changing landscape.
So even though we started with a simple walking tour video, we've uncovered a wealth of insights about consumer behavior, retail strategy, and the future of physical spaces.
And that's the power of observation and critical thinking.
Yeah.
We didn't need fancy algorithms or, expensive research studies. We just needed to pay attention and ask the right questions.
It's amazing what you can discover when you take a deep dive, and that brings me to my final question.
What's that?
We've talked a lot about the success of the Irvine Spectrum Center, but are there any potential downsides to this type of, curated experience? Is there a risk of creating spaces that feel too manufactured or inauthentic?
That's a very insightful question, and it's something we need to be mindful of. While there are many benefits to creating these highly designed experiences, there's always that risk of losing that sense of authenticity and spontaneity that makes a place feel, truly alive.
It's like walking that tightrope. Right.
That's either.
You want to create an appealing space that draws people in, but not go so far that it feels, fake.
Exactly. It's all about finding that sweet spot where the design enhances the whole experience without overshadowing the human element.
And I imagine that balance is only going to get tougher to find, right? As technology keeps blurring those lines between, the physical and digital worlds.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the rise of augmented reality, VR, and other immersive technologies.
Yeah.
The question is, how do we integrate these technologies into these physical spaces, in a way that actually enhances the experience, but doesn't feel intrusive or gimmicky?
Yeah, that's a tough one for sure. But I have a feeling the Irvine Spectrum Center, with their, forward-thinking approach, they might just be one of the places that figures it out.
I wouldn't be surprised. They do seem to have that knack for staying ahead of the curve.
Well, this deep dive has given me a lot to think about, that's for sure. It's amazing what we can learn from something as, seemingly simple as a walking tour video.
It really is a testament to the power of just, observation. Sometimes those profound insights, they're right there in plain sight, just waiting to be discovered.
And it's a good reminder that the world is full of these fascinating stories. We just got to be curious enough to go looking for them.
Exactly. So to our listeners out there, take a closer look at the spaces that you visit frequently. What patterns do you see? What stories are being told? What can you learn about consumer behavior and the way retail is evolving?
Because as we've seen today, even the most, seemingly ordinary places can reveal those extraordinary insights.
And who knows? You might just stumble onto the next big trend.
That's a great note to end on. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of consumer behavior and the future of retail.
It was my pleasure. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.